Hello, lifers. Welcome back. We're carrying on with season 1, and we have these episodes piling up. So stick with us. Stick with us. It's your girl Eldo Hirhground, and today we have a phenomenal guest, our brother Eldo from Philadelphia, the United States. Eldo has traveled around the world. He's now a lecturer in the Arvets art sector, if I'm saying that right. He is now a lecturer at Wits, teaching art. He's also a fanatic for body art. He has a few businesses. He's worked around the world doing what he loves and teaching what he loves. So he's now based here in South Africa. I believe he's found love here in South Africa. Yeah, I believe he's now put down his roots here in the Rainbow Nation.
My name's Eldo. Will be 2 years here in July. I've been tattooing since 1999. I come from the United States, from Philadelphia, and I've tattooed all over the U.S., from Philly to L.A., and other little spots around the world. I've traveled around the world a bit. I probably came to South Africa like 8 years ago. Met my wife. I've got some kids. Everything's smoothing along, and then I worked for a couple other tattoo shops in South Africa. I always said if I open up my own shop, it's going to be here in Maboneng, because I like the vibe in Maboneng. There's a street like Maboneng in every city around the world, and they all have a little tattoo shop like this. You come in and there's tattoo flash all over the walls, and it's got like a rock and roll vibe. And,
yeah. Also, I want to ask the gut of living home. It might happen through a place of frustration, because sometimes when one leave home, maybe it's because maybe you're so used to have what you had, but also you wanna experience some other. I don't know what had happened to you when you decided, let me just leave home.
Well, it wasn't even like that hard a decision. I mean, all my life, I knew I was going to travel. Like, I grew up in the country. I wanted to live in the city. As soon as I graduated high school, I moved to a city. And so I got a little bit of everything in me: little country, little city, everything. So, and I've traveled since, like I said, since I was in high school. I've been traveling, moving around. Yeah. So I've always appreciated that. I'm a first-generation American. My dad came from Italy. So, excuse me. So I think it's kind of weird that he was born in Italy, I was born in the United States, and my son's born in South Africa. You know what I mean? So nobody was born, anywhere particularly. We're true travelers.
Yeah. I always said we really don't have a sense of belonging. It's just that we're more like whiling beings, but we just saw ourselves in a particular space. So now I don't want to go far from what I'm here for, bruh. The look and the passion behind the tattoo business, bruh. Like I said, I want to get one, and I always wanted to come here though. And there's something about your work though. It's beyond art, and there's something about even your look. It's beyond the beard, beyond the fashion, but bro, the passion behind everything, bro. The curation of whatever, the ideas that you wake up on. I don't know, bro. I don't know how to put it, but I just want to know about the feeling and the passion and the ideas that you have that driven you to open this store.
What drove me to open the store was necessity, really, at the time, because during COVID, I couldn't tattoo. So I was teaching English online to Russian kids in Russia, And then the war started in Ukraine at the end of the COVID, and I lost all my Russian students. They got boxed in Russia, so I couldn't, teach them. And I was like, oh my God, I gotta do something. The only thing I had to get back into tattooing. But I didn't want to work in another, bland shop that was like a cross between a dentist office and a art museum. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I gathered what little money I was able to gather through some friends, and opened up this little studio.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
All the art is from friends of mine in the U.S. So even the art on the walls, even if you picked up, let's say, this skull and snake, you're not going to find it anywhere else in Africa. It's only here because my buddy gave me this art, and now I'm able to display it here. Yeah.
So you also collect?
Yeah, for sure.
Nah, it's cool, bro. And then I want to touch on in some sensitive topic where there's always a separation between human nature just because one has to put a ratio in one's color. But you only find out that there's always a common denominator that binds us as people in terms of belief. It's beyond passion, though. It dwells in one's morality in terms of...
Yeah. When you're talking about what makes this kind of vibe so attractive, you know what I mean? And it has to stem from somewhere. From my understanding of it, the reservoir of all attractiveness, the reservoir of all beauty, you know what I mean? The most beautiful thing in all of creation is God, right? No matter what if you're an atheist, you might not say God, but you could say nature or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever your version of, the most beautiful thing is. So, when you carry that and you reflect it a little bit and, so you can see it. I'm basically dressed like a bum, but still, you know what I mean? I have a bit of a reflective, nature because, a smile carries a lot of, you know what I mean? And it's that spiritual knowing that I believe I have that, keeps a smile on my face even through whatever material adversities go on, in the world and stuff.
In other words, you're just free floating and you're just living.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So yeah, you see he looks so free and happy, you know what I mean? But so does, the homeless guy out here on the street. But in the same respect, maybe one person is suffering, the other person's not. Why? Because, one feels like they have everything encapsulated while the other one's still searching. No matter what I do, I know I'm pretty much encapsulated. Everything's fine. You know what I mean? Everything goes on for a reason. While if somebody else is always looking for the next, what's going on, the next thing, even if they're a millionaire, and if they're looking for the next thing all the time, then they're suffering because they're never where they're at. You know what I mean? I'm so happy where I'm at. I'm so happy, wherever I'm at, in the now, being, trying to being in the moment.
Being in the moment.
Preparing for the next moment, but being in the moment.
Yeah. And you're saying you look like, bro, you don't look like a bummer, bro. This look cool. You look godly. You look godly. I was saying this, bro. Every time I see something so attractive and beautiful, it's I don't know, man. I always have a feeling that I wish I could take it back at home, Eastern Cape. How would you feel if you take maybe a certain portion of your store and just travel a bit to Eastern Cape side or KZN or Cape Town?
The plan is to franchise. I have a 5-year plan, and I'm only in year 2 of it. So by year 4 or 5, I should have this thing down to a well-oiled machine where you would get a nice book that would tell you how to run a perfect, walk-in tattoo shop, from old school standards to, you have all this flash, everything that you need to just start tattooing, you know what I mean? Or have artists and
There's history in tattooing.
The history goes back to the history of mankind. You can go back 10,000 years, and if you find the oldest mummies or, the Iceman, these people have tattoos on them, you know what I mean? And it wasn't just some biker guy giving them the tattoos. It was like a respected village elder or shaman. They're the ones that do the tattoos. And, maybe about 100 years ago, it was sailors and, bikers and whatever, it's changed, but it's always been there. Wherever there's been human culture, it's been tattoos. They say the oldest profession, people say is prostitution or whatever. But really, I bet you that prostitute had a tattoo. You know what I mean? Yeah. But no, it's true. Tattoos. Matter of fact, there was this lady that I don't know if it was a lady or a man, but they found them up in the mountains of Siberia or something like that.
That's a mummy.
Yeah, and don't get me lying, maybe it was the Alps, but it was definitely a mummy, and the mummy was like 10,000 years old, preserved with the skin. She had tattoos, or he had tattoos all over him, and he also had a bag of ganja on him, which was kind of interesting. But these things go back tens of thousands of years, you know what I mean, in the history and culture. So
someone said we're more like a continuation of things that lived before, but in different aspects in time and moments.
In this life, all we have is cause and effect. That is the basis of all material existence, cause and effect. There's no, your intentions and thoughts may be one thing, but it's what you do that's another. Stacking bricks one on top of another, and you stack bricks until the next generation is able to put bricks on top of that bricks, and we have everything that we have today. That's why we live in houses of bricks. I'm sure somebody tried straw, and somebody tried what was the Three Little Pigs story? First the house of straw, then the house of sticks, and then the house of bricks. And these are stories that try to teach us if you want to be safe, build a house of bricks. You know what I mean? Because the big bad wolf is always at the door. And what's the big bad wolf represent? The only other material truth in life. Death. You know what I mean? No matter who you are, no matter what you are, no matter what you believe, no matter if you're going to die. Whether you're a tree or a fish or a person, if there's life, eventually that life ends. And even if you're a mountain, even if you're the planet, eventually at some point this planet is going to go away. You know what I mean? The sun's going to supernova, whatever science predicts. The sun's going to supernova, the planet's going to burn up eventually through time. And that's why actually God, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, I am time, destroyer of all things. You know what I mean? So if you want to understand God, understand time. You want to understand time, you understand that there's only two truths. One, everything is constantly changing, everything's in a state of flux. And two, everything ends. And our goal in life is to try to dovetail that change into our benefit. You know what I mean? Oh, now that we know the change of the seasons, we know when the plant crops. We know death is coming, so we lock our doors at night, or we put seatbelts in cars, or we do things just to we go to the doctor. We try to mitigate as best we can, keep these things at bay, and live a good life.
That's a beautiful information, though. Other words, live for a moment, though. Before it's too late. I said this to someone else. If it was 1 o'clock yesterday, it's still 1 o'clock today. Make the most. We don't stop. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for this, bro. It was quite informational in such a small time, though. Thank you so much, bro. Thanks.